Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is a potential lie by John Swinney that he's possibly made in Holyrood. And when somebody lies in Holyrood or misleads, maybe a nicer way of putting it, John, they need to sort of refer themselves for assessment. Look at if they've broken any guidelines about Holyrood. And this came up yesterday in Parliament when they were talking about the A9 extension to dual carriageway, the whole road between Perth and Inverness section. And something's came up that a couple of years ago is probably not been totally economical with the truth. But he's not been honest. Now, wee bit of backstory. The A9 is the largest road in Scotland. And it runs from sort of Central Belt all the way up to Thurso, which is at the tip of the north of Scotland. You go up through Perth, Perthshire, and into Inverness and further on. But the worst bit for traffic is the Perth to Inverness bit. Now, the whole road's about 270 odd miles long, but this bit is 88 miles long. And there's only parts of it that have been dual carriageway. So there was 88 miles, to turn from single into dual carriageway. And the SNP government promised in 2007 that they would have this 88 mile section all dual carriageway by 2025. Well, we're at 2025 just now, and there is still 77 miles of the 88 miles not dual carriageway. So in that 2007, and that was 18 years, they've managed to do 11 miles. There's 77 miles uncompleted. And they had told the Scottish public, as I say, originally it would be finished in 2025. But in February 2023, they came clean and said, this ain't happening, obviously. And they extended the timescale to 2035. Now, I kind of always break things down to common sense and logic. And if you've managed to do 11 miles in 17 years, how am I going to buy into you doing the rest of it in, at the time, 12 years and now 10 years? Because we're 10 years away from their second completion date. And I just don't see it happening, to be perfectly honest with you. But what's happened is, yesterday in Parliament, they were discussing the dualling of the A9. And it's became apparent that in December 2022, John Swinney was the finance minister. And when they were discussing the budget in December 2022, the topic of money allocated to A9 must have come up, and somebody asked him if the timescale was still achievable. And at that time, he said yes, and that was the government had not changed their views on the completion date. So this is December 2022. In February 2023, 2 months later, Jenny Gilruth, who I believe was Transport at the time, came out eventually and came clean and said, we ain't going to finish this by 2025. We'll need to extend it to 2035. So that's 8 weeks, possibly 6, depending on what dates exactly. And I could find that out, but it's not really the end of the world, right? So it could be 6-8 weeks between John Swinney saying, no, still good. But it's now came to light that there's potential weeks before his budget discussion in the December, where he said we're still on track, that he knew. Because there seems to be evidence somewhere to suggest that the Scottish Government knew weeks before that budget speech that it wasn't going to happen. Now, to be fair, if he knew that, and he was asked that in Parliament, surely what he should have said was, well, that's not really my brief, I'm finance, but we're still putting money towards the project for timescales, that'll be more of transport, and I believe we're going to be making an announcement on that in the coming weeks. Because he must have known, if that information's true. But he didn't. He categorically said no, 2025, and slightly different words, but saying the government's position was still the same. So he's saying in the December, no, it's fine. And it wasn't fine. So that's where we're at. Now, what can happen next is, now, it'll just, there was a few articles done on this issue. The Daily Express, they got some quotes, if you let me just find them. Tory guy, he's raging. He's saying that he should be held to account for it. He suggested that this meant Mr. Swinney had misled the chamber and he should refer himself to the Ministerial Code Advisor. But he concluded, I doubt he will, because the government doesn't do accountability or transparency. And then, even when they knew definitely that the duelling would not happen as promised, they refused to be honest with Parliament and public. And this has been the case far too often, because there are suggestions that there's a lot of people pushing them because people felt that it wasn't going to happen. They were pushing them in Parliament to give an update, and they were kind of fuzzy about it right up to Jenny Gorou stood up in 2023 and went, it's not happening. So anyway, that was what Jamie Halcrow-Johnson, MSP, that was his views. However, there was a couple of other opinions given, and one was Fergus Ewan, who's an MSP for the SNP, but he's a bit of a rebel now. And he's urged the Scottish Executive to U-turn the commandment and actually do it quicker. And he said, I have made you an offer you should not refuse. It's a bit gangsterish. And but the other one, the most telling quote, was from the current Transport Secretary, Fiona Hislop. She concluded on behalf of the government, but failed to comment on Mr. Johnson's allegations, insisting that she wanted to look forward instead of back, was responsible for the scrutiny and transparency when it comes to the project. But this is proper SNP stuff, isn't it? Oh, no, we should look forward, no back. Get him back to rights. If this man has lied or misled, as they like to put it, I don't know the difference, but they kind of use nicer words, to the Scottish Parliament, then he should be dealt with accordingly. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please hit the subscribe and the notification bell. But most important of all, unless you're one of these naughty SNP people that tend to be economical with the truth, not you at all, but
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.